Committee, we have an interim study proposal by Representative Kelly Link.
This proposal addresses, I guess, a fairly new problem we have in the state of Arkansas thanks to Act 60 and the additional consolidated schools we got from the newer laws. And what we've got is a lot of school buildings sitting empty, particularly in rural areas.
I'm Renee Carr, Executive Director of Rural Community Alliance, and we're a member-based organization. We have 1,300 members across Arkansas from the northern border to the southern border. Being a member-based organization, we listen to what our members have to say, what's on their minds.
I'm sorry, I'm Dorothy Singleton, and I am the lead organizer with Rural Community Alliance. And the building that we are attempting to acquire is the one that's on the screen now. And we're wanting to turn the high school portion of that building into a museum and culture center. William Bowen is from Alzheimer, and we are wanting to make this a building honoring him in the form of a museum and culture center. And all of our people are ready to go, and our school board, each time we go before them, they give us another task to do, and we're going into 5 years of waiting on them to figure out exactly what it is that they want to do with the building. And in the meantime, the building is getting to the point of it's deteriorating, draining in the building. We are also wanting to submit an application to the National Trust of Historic Preservation because of the age of the building and because of the historic value. And they do restoring and not remodeling, and we are getting to that point beyond restoring now. And that's why we continue to push to get our buildings. This is the cafeteria that's on the screen now. That's the gym, and across the street there is the Martin High School building named after Fred Martin. And go to the next one. That's the high school building, and it's boarded up. And our all-school reunion committee is wanting this building to restore it and name it after William Bowen and Fred Martin Jr. And we haven't been able to get it. They won't sell it, they won't lease it, they won't donate it, nothing. They're just holding it. And I think their problem is not knowing exactly what they can do. I think they have the fears of what we will do with the building later on. Thank you.
Senator Flower, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to identify for the record, Ms. Singleton is one of my constituents, and you did a great job too. And I guess my question is more to Mr. Link, Representative Link. One of the things that you might consider, I'd like for you to consider as well, is the possibility of the school district using these buildings that are in the community of the community that lost the building, so to speak, as centers such as Ms. Aiken described, community centers that do something to enhance efforts by parents to be better parents for their students that they have within the school district. And one of the bills that I sponsored in 2011 dealt with parental involvement and the Department of Education assisting school districts. And my emphasis to the department in implementing the bill is to do more in these consolidated districts where you did lose a school building in a community, so that parents and the students would be closer to activities without going 15, 20 miles to that new school community. It'd make it easier on a parent in the evening after coming in from work, on weekends. It's a lot of possibilities that could enhance education overall for these rural communities. And that's something that you might want to talk with the Department of Ed about. I've been meeting with them on parental involvement and having activities in these rural communities that lost the building, where there are buildings. I've got 5 counties. And in each of those 5 counties, you got some consolidated school districts. She gave a good example of Alzheimer Sherrill consolidated with Dollaway. They got to cross the river to get over to the school, except for the elementary kids, is it?
1-5 is still in the old high school.
1-5 is still over in Alzheimer. Then over down at Desha County, you've got kids crossing over from Lincoln County, from Gould, to go to Dumas Consolidated School District. Same thing in Lincoln County, the kids from Grady, they cross over to go to Star City for school. That's a good 15, 20, maybe a little bit more mileage. And then over there in East Arkansas, the kids from Elaine and Lakeview, they have to travel much longer distance to go to school at Marvel. And then Humphrey kids, they go to DeWitt. Gillette kids go to DeWitt. And so it's a problem. And these buildings are being wasted. And it's no reason for it. But one thing I've noted at Gillette, they're able to use their building, the gym at least. And I think that's part of the elementary campus, so I don't know if that's incorporated into the elementary campus. And Ms. Aiken noted some school, you still have an elementary school at Fouche?
No, ma'am, we lost them all.
Okay, so that whole campus is just sealed up?
Yes, ma'am. Except our one little outbuilding that had the preschool, that little metal building.
Well, and you know what? Thinking back, Mr. Link, in 2009, I co-sponsored with Senator Broadway a bill that passed that dealt with the inspection and maintenance of public school buildings. And I would think that these buildings are subject to that law. And so Mr. Wood from the Department of Ed might consider, and the Division of Academic Facilities and Transportation might consider, are we enforcing this against these buildings that are owned still by those school districts, whether they should be subject to that law? And I would submit that they are.
That'd certainly give them more incentive to do something, wouldn't it?
Yes, at least to keep them insured and keep them maintained.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the categories that Representative Catlett is pointing out of what we can do with them, when I said use it, more specifically, I think we even said after-school programs is one of the ways to use it. It'd keep the after-school programs closer to the community these students are from, and social enrichment programs is a couple of categories. So, but I appreciate your comments, and we'll use that when we start wording this for 2013.
And tying it back into the presentation made by the Legislative Audit's Office, a lot of these school districts, and I think Yale is one of them, they have a lot of money to be creative in doing things. And if I'm not mistaken, Yale County was one of those school districts that was a poor performing, wasn't it? So I'm sure they've got a lot of good things that if they were creative and allowed other community members besides that board that doesn't seem to be working well or in the best interest of the whole community, that something could be developed for the different locales.
And ma'am, we never had any academic problems. Maybe Western Yale you're thinking about, we had not even 1 year. We had the highest test scores in the county. We had no problems.
But now that you're consolidated, it's the same thing that the people of Gillette say. You know, going over to DeWitt. It's the same thing. Their kids are doing great. They've got the highest test scores, I think, in the state on the benchmark for their elementary students over at Gillette. But when they have to go to DeWitt, come junior high or middle school, everything goes down. And even though their students are still achieving the totality of the score at that school district is lowered, and it makes their children even look like they are poor performers. So I understand exactly, and I got 5 different districts that are experiencing the same kind of thing. So I appreciate Mr. Link, and wanted him to know that he has my support, and I'd like to be kept apprised of the study as it goes forward. Okay.
Thank you, Senator.